Well, procrastination, as we all know it, is a mental tug of war where you know you need to do something, but you keep putting it off for later. Now imagine this. You know you have an important project due next week. You know the deadline's approaching, but instead of working on the project, you find yourself scrolling through social media, cleaning your room, but again, that's productive. Or eating, talking to your friends, just hanging out, watching Netflix, or even sleeping. Somehow you convince yourself that you're going to start in an hour, but that hour never really shows up. This is very similar to having two voices in your head where you're like, oh, I should get this done and it's going to make me feel so much better once I get this project done. But on the other side, it counters it, where the other voice says, no, you should chill, you should probably have a snack, probably you should scroll to social media, probably you should watch Netflix, probably you should play a game. Now, this inner conflict that you have will often result in you doing tasks that give you instant gratification, and that, my friend, is very harmful in the long run. Even if they're not really urgent or that important, or your number one priority, and they're not even related to the assignment or the task that you have a deadline for, you will still do it because it makes you feel so good in this present moment. So you're just like, you know what, this feels good. It's making me feel so accomplished. It makes me feel like I've done something for the day. It's making me feel productive in that present moment, but it's really not contributing towards your end goal. It's really not contributing towards what you really want to do in the first place. But now you're in this chaotic place, you're in this chaotic space that you don't know which way to go. And on top of that, as and when your deadline approaches for that given set project and a given set task that you said you were going to do in an hour, you begin to realize that, oh, I should have started this task probably a month ago or 2 months ago, or as soon as it was handed over to me, because this actually requires me to go through a bunch of research. It probably requires me to, reference a lot of papers. It probably requires me to do a lot more than I anticipated. And now what you're doing is you're stressing yourself out even more just at that thought, which again makes you procrastinate even harder. Now again, my friend, don't confuse procrastination for being lazy. No, you're not lazy. Let me clarify that. For your own peace and sanity, no, you're not lazy. All you're trying to avoid here is you're trying to avoid boredom. You're avoiding the work that needs to be done in order to achieve that end goal, that is completing that task and project at hand. You're avoiding fear. You're avoiding fear of failure on top of that. Sometimes you procrastinate not just because, the task is too big, or, we're too bored to do the research and to actually do and put in the work that's required to get the task at hand done. But we're also afraid that we may not be able to accomplish it. We may not be able to achieve that task or complete it within that set period of time. Or probably not just the time span, it's also you not being able to put in your 100%. You probably think that, oh, this is beyond my expertise and I don't know if I'm going to ace this project or I'm going to be able to ace this task at hand. You have no idea what that task entails. That's why you're so confused, you're so scared, and you're petrified, and that makes you very anxious. Now, while I just mentioned all that stuff, yes, you need to understand that procrastination is a very, very extremely common human experience, and that's why there are productivity YouTubers like. And also, there are a lot more that I would like to mention. But again, the point here is we're trying to overcome procrastination. We're trying to improve our focus. We're trying to improve our productivity. And what you need right now is you need a plan. So let's actually get into the steps that'll help you achieve and complete the task at hand without giving you instant gratification from various tasks that are not even a part of the plan. So without any further ado, let's dive right into it. Let's understand what procrastination is and where it stems from. Let's actually get to the root cause of procrastination. The first and foremost thing is you fear failure. You fear, like we just discussed before, you fear the fact that you may not be able to accomplish this project. You may not be able to finish it in time, or you may not be able to just even do the project. You may not know where to start from. You don't know the head, the body, the intro. You don't know anything of that project. You don't know how to go about it. So you're just too scared now. You're just too scared to even start, to be able to figure it out. So that's actually preventing you from even starting the project, and that's making you do all these random things that keep you entertained probably for now, but it's really not going to accomplish any results in the long run. Second thing that might be holding you back is perfectionism, because again, perfectionism is the enemy of getting anything done. You know, perfectionism does exist, okay, when it comes to doing projects and tasks, and when you're doing homework, for example, it does exist because that exists as a part of your final scan of your research paper, for example. It's your final scan of your task at hand. It's your final scan of your assignment, where you're like, oh, let me scan through this assignment and go through any mistakes that I might have made, any, incorrect information that I might have put in, anything that probably doesn't really go in with the topic, or it breaks the flow. Let me just check all of that. All of that comes towards the end of the task. It comes towards just before, when you're about to submit that assignment, submit the project, submit in that task, or hand in anything. It comes right before that. So perfectionism in the beginning is going to even stop you. Perfectionism in the beginning will even bar you from starting the project and task at hand. So be very careful when you say you want to be a perfectionist and you really want everything to be, up to mark and up to point, and there should be no spelling mistake, there should be no errors, there should be just no issues with the document or research paper or whatever it is that you're doing. But it's going to happen. So please be careful about bringing perfectionism into the picture when it comes to anything in the beginning. So don't do that and let that go. Now this one's a big one, is because lack of motivation can again stop you from even starting the project and keep procrastinating till the end of time, till actually the deadline really comes and you're like, you know what, I need to do it. I need to get out of the way. You could not be motivated because of multiple things. First thing predominantly is because the task at hand is really boring, or it requires a lot of work. It could go both ways. Now, if there's a lot of work involved, you really don't want to do it, you're just lacking the motivation to even start. So you're probably like, oh my god, now who's going to organize this, file this, actually sync it, or whatever it is you really need to do. But it takes a lot of work and you're just afraid of the work, and you just really are bored of that work in the first place. Now you could also very well be procrastinating just because you're overwhelmed, you're overstimulated, because you've got a lot of work to do. You know the deadline's approaching. You completely understand that. But now you're too in shock to even start the work, because now you're like, oh, it's too late to even start. There's too much to do, there's too much research, there's too much organizing. And this is all resulted just because of your lack of plan, lack of structure, just lack of any organization at all. Just because you lack time management and you lack good organization skills, you're going to end up not doing the task at hand, or you're going to miss the deadline, or you're not going to be able to give in a good quality of work. You're just not going to be able to complete it and keep it to the par that it needs to be in order for you to succeed in that given or set assignment or task or project or research, whatever it is that you're doing. You're just not going to be able to do it properly because of your lack of time management, lack of organization, lack of structure, just, not having enough clarity as to what to do in this. You, my friend, have created so much ruckus around that project. Now it's not even about procrastination anymore. It's about you being overwhelmed, overstimulated, you're just not in that zone to even do anything. So there you go. You just don't do things that result in procrastination. Now that we've actually concluded that procrastination is our biggest enemy and that really, really bars us from getting any work done, what we're going to do is we're going to study and actually learn actionable steps to help us beat procrastination, and we're going to do ourselves a big favor in return by making our life a lot simpler and while keeping our mental peace. Now, first thing you're going to do is you're going to understand the task at hand. Okay, as soon as you get the task, as soon as you get a paper, now, just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to take a research paper, for example. So let's talk about it from a research paper point of view. For example, I've got a topic for that research. Now, what I'm going to do is, I know my goal is to write a research paper and the time given to me is 4 weeks. So I have to really finish and submit this paper before and within 4 weeks. Now that I know I have 4 weeks to get this task done, what I'm going to do is, the first and foremost thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my initial research. Now, my initial research is going to be going through a lot of papers, referencing all of those papers, having enough to read, to go through in that first week. So my first week is going to look something like this, where I know my topic, I've researched that topic, in and around that topic. I've actually kind of structured by flow, where, how I want my paper to look like, how I want my paper to flow. So I kind of have a brief idea as to what it needs to look like. However, this is just a rough week, so I'm still experimenting with different papers. I'm still trying to gather as much information as possible. I'm still trying to understand the topic in depth as much as possible. I'm trying to study it. I'm trying to study the research around it. I'm trying to read books. I'm trying to go to libraries, get appointments, speak to lecturers, or whatever it is that needs to get done. The first week is just basically for your research, it's for your analysis, it's for you to gather all the information. Now, the second week is going to be for me to create an outline for my paper and have an introduction. Yes, by the second week, you need to have everything in place. Basically, you've read through the research work, you kind of know what your flow looks like, you kind of have all the information in place, and if not, you can still gather some information from here and there, but majority of your research should have been done in the first week itself, so heavy load is gone now. Okay, so the second week is just basically you trying to figure out what your outline is, how you want your introduction to be, how you want the body to be, what your conclusion is going to be. So we're going to focus majorly on introduction, and we're going to focus majorly on the outline, the structure of the paper in the second week. So you're going to phrase your introduction, you're going to write it, you're going to read it, you're going to reference it, you're going to do all of that. And of course, there are like words. Okay, so basically the introduction needs to be within 500 words. So you're going to fit that into 500 words. Again, I'm not speaking of perfectionism here. Again, you're just going to focus on getting an introduction ready. Now, by the time you really reach the third week, you're very heavily into the topic because you've done your initial research, you have all the information that you need, you've gone through a lot of papers, you've read a lot of books, you've spoken to a lot of your peers, your professionals, you've spoken to a lot of people. Now you have enough information. Now your brain is saturated with information. And also in the second week, you've written your introduction and you kind of know what your flow looks like. You kind of have an idea of what the structure is, what the body is going to look like. Now you're going to start writing your body. Your body is probably going to take a long time. Now, if it depends if you're writing a thesis or you're just writing a basic research paper. The thesis can be really extremely long, ranging from 10,000 words to 25,000 words. Again, depends. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritties because this is just an example. So let's leave it at that. So you know what the flow of the body looks like. You know what all you need to put into that body of that paper. You know what that research is. You're going to reference it. You're going to base off different studies. You're going to actually elaborate and expand on your body. You're kind of going to make it flow through the research paper. You're going to include all the valid points. You're going to include all the valid justifications, the arguments. If any previous research has been conducted in this particular field, if this topic is brand new, or if this topic has been experimented and researched with, you're going to write a lot of that information in that body. And basically by the third week, you kind of have your body ready and you're almost at the verge of your conclusion. Fourth week is going to be writing the final conclusion, which is not going to be that long, so you're going to probably take one day to write that conclusion. That's it. However, now when it comes to perfecting and revising and editing that paper, you're going to take 4 whole days, 4 to 5 days, just perfecting, editing, and revising that paper. Because yes, it will take that much time. Because now you've reached that stage where you've completed the paper. Congratulations, by the way, you've completed the paper before deadline. Now what you're going to do is you're going to revise that. You're going to revise that, and now you're going to make sure that you're going to use your creativity. You're going to use your tools. You're going to use your method of being a perfectionist here at this time. You're going to use all that power, and you're going to structure the paper. You're going to make sure the introduction is correct, it's up to point, and you're talking about the topic that you chose. The body is in flow and is in sync with the introduction, and it flows smoothly, and the conclusion is clear. It's abstract, and you know what? It actually ends the research paper on a good note. And you've referenced everything. You've mentioned all the references. You've maintained the integrity of the paper. You've maintained the integrity of the researcher. You've maintained the structure and the format in which the paper needs to be written, in which the referencing needs to be done. You've used legal references. You haven't really used random Wikipedia references. No, Wikipedia is not a reference. You've actually done your science direct references. You've done other kind of references. For example, you've done all of that. And you've revised the paper over and over again. It's ready to submit. That's your 4th week. Now, to simplify this even more, you're going to set daily targets. Yes, you're going to set daily targets. This was a weekly target, like an overall big chunk. Now, to even get that initial research in the first week, from Monday to say Saturday, you're going to work, and probably you're going to take Sunday off because for XYZ reasons. From Monday, what are you going to do Monday? Like, what time are you going to wake up? What are your priority tasks that you need to get done throughout the day? Firstly, if you don't have a topic, you're going to figure out a topic on Monday, and that shouldn't take more than 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. Depends on how much, how big your research is, whatever topic you need to choose on, whatever it is. You're going to disperse Monday in a way where you found your topic. Okay, you're about to start researching on that topic because you finalized the topic on Monday. So now you're kind of gathering your initial research, your rough data. Basically. On Tuesday, you're gathering more information and you're actually reading up on all of the research papers, and you're actually reading up on all of the data that you've collected. You're going through it, you're trying to set your argument in place, you're trying to kind of, have like a rough image of what you want your research paper to look like. Now, to help you with all of these tasks, you're going to use the Pomodoro technique. That is so that you use your full brain and you don't get distracted, because ADHD is very common these days. We need complete and ultimate focus to get this done. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the Pomodoro technique. What you're going to do is you're going to work for 20 minutes. Yeah, you're going to work for 20 minutes and you're going to take a 5 to 10 minute break after that. Yes. Or if you think you can stretch it up to 25 to 30 minutes of, focused, conscious work, great. And then you can probably take a 15-minute break. It depends on how long you can stretch it. You can very well adjust it according to what you think suits you the best. And again, it depends on if you work better during the day, if you work better during the night, or whatever it is that you really like. You're going to make the most out of that. Again, I'm going to be your best friend here, and I'm going to tell you, please sit in a quiet place. Don't do that thing where you're like, oh, I can listen to music and I can work. You probably can't. You've probably manipulated yourself into believing that you can, but you can't, because real focused, dedicated work requires you to sit in a quiet place. So choose a quiet place in your house, or if you feel like it's too distracting, you're going to get your ass up. You're going to go to a cafe or to a library. That's even better. You're going to go there, you're going to sit there, and you're going to work in silence. Absolute silence. And you're not going to use your phone. Well, you can just use your phone to set a timer, set an alarm, just to make sure that you're getting your tasks done. You have a checklist on your phone where you're like, okay, research is done, topic has been finalized, you know what, I've figured out the introduction, whatever it is, XYZ. You can probably just use your phone for that, and that's it. That is absolutely it. Also, this is my personal favorite bit, is you're going to reward yourself after every week. Now, it's going to take a month to get this task done. However, you need to, treat yourself a little bit, because you've gone through the week and you've actually done everything you said you were going to do. So congratulations. What's the problem? You can enjoy yourself on a Sunday. You can take yourself out. You can have a fun date with your friends. You can just order in food, watch Netflix, just do all of that, instant gratification stuff that we spoke about on that one day. And give yourself that celebration, that acknowledgement that you really deserve, because you've gone through this hard week and you've done the hard work. You've actually done the work here. You've put in the work. You've not procrastinated. You've stayed on track, and all of your targets have been hit. You deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. So make sure you treat yourself on that Sunday, and make sure you treat yourself good. In a sense, overcoming procrastination is you creating a schedule for yourself for that particular set given task at hand that you have. So as soon as there's a schedule in place, as soon as there's time management, as soon as there's a plan in place, as soon as there's structure in place, as soon as you know what you need to do every single day, once you've got the task and once you've actually, jotted down a plan, you've made a plan, as soon as there are tasks and to-do lists every single day, and you tick off certain things off those lists, you feel so accomplished by the end of that day, and you're going to feel so much more accomplished by the end of that week, and you're going to feel so on top of cloud 9 when you actually submit that assignment, because you've put in the work, you've done the dirty work, you've actually done it, eliminated any possible error, or you made sure that, my project is 110 because I had enough time to revise it, to edit it, to make sure that it looks the most perfect version of itself, and you've done everything that is basically in your control. So this is going to go good. Now, just thinking about this gives you like a boost of confidence. Like, it just helps you feel so good about yourself that you're just like, oh, you have instant motivation because you know what you need to get done throughout the day. So you're like, you know what, I can treat myself after those tasks have been done, or I can just go hang out as soon as, one of that thing is done. I know I'm gonna achieve. Procrastination is nothing else but just you being overstimulated, being overwhelmed because of your lack of awareness of how much energy and how much effort really needs to be put into this task. And you're gonna do yourself a favor. You're gonna work smarter and not harder. Again, that's going to be a whole different video, so watch out for that one. But for now, we come to the end of this brilliant video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you guys did, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Okay, that means a lot. Till then, I'm going to see you guys in my next one. Take care and bye.